Hello and welcome back to StatLab. Today we're going to look at hypothesis testing, but we're going to be comparing two different means. So first, let's quickly define our symbols. Our population mean is mu, our sample mean is y bar, our sample size is n, our standard error is the standard deviation over the square root of n, and our test statistic is y bar minus mu over the standard error. Okay, so now let's quickly go through our assumptions and conditions. I'm going to move through some of them quickly because we've been doing them in other videos for the other tests. But your independence assumption randomization condition, that's always going to be, if it was randomly selected from your population, it's going to be met. Independence group assumption, now this one is new. This one is specifically for comparing means, and this is met if your groups are independent and have no effect on one another. Normal population assumption, nearly normal condition, same as normal. The condition is only met if you can confirm the distribution is normal with a histogram or some other information. And if you cannot confirm the distribution is normal or you know it's skewed, you must refer to the sample size assumption. And the sample size assumption uses the large enough condition. And we use the central limit theorem to determine if the sample is large enough. And for that, we use if n is less than 15, the underlying distribution must be normally distributed for the distribution of means to be normally distributed. And if n is between 15 and 40, it can be somewhat skewed, but with no outliers. And if n is greater than 40, then your underlying distribution can be skewed and have outliers, and your distribution of means will still be normally distributed. Generally, without a histogram, you're going to need to see a sample greater than 40 before you're sure that the condition's met. If it's less than 40, generally you're going to be saying, without a histogram to confirm the distribution, a sample size of whatever you have may not be large enough for the condition to be met, and therefore we should proceed with caution. Again, I've moved through these pretty quickly. If you want a little bit more detail on them, I would go back and look at our hypothesis testing for one mean, where I go through it in a little bit more detail. So hypothesis testing for two means, that we believe these two averages are equal. So our null hypothesis is going to be that mu1 equals mu2. And our alternative hypothesis is going to be that mu1 is either greater than, less than, or not equal to mu2. And just as before, you're going to have to define your parameters, and this time you're going to have to define both of them. And we usually use this template. Okay, so let's see how this is going to work with a real question. So a researcher wants to compare the average cost of a home in Nova Scotia to the average cost of a home in the city of Halifax. They randomly sample 25 recent home sales in Halifax area and find a sample mean of 551,600 with a sample standard deviation of 140,000. They also randomly select a sample of 75 recent home sales in the province excluding the Halifax area, and they find a sample average of 411,800 with a sample standard deviation of 110,200. So this researcher believes that the housing costs in Halifax have become significantly more expensive than in the rest of the province. So to test this, we're going to use a 1% significance level, and we're going to see if the researcher is correct. As always, we need to check our assumptions first. So the independence assumption randomization condition, this condition is met because they randomly selected samples from the population of all recent home sales in Halifax and all recent home sales in Nova Scotia. Our independent group assumption, this is unique to the comparing means, and this condition is met because the Halifax home sales were not included in the provincial home sales. So we've kept the two groups separate. They don't interact with each other, and therefore they are independent. Okay, the next one that we're going to look at, of course, is our normal population assumption, nearly normal condition. And so without a histogram to confirm the distribution, and they haven't told us anything about the distribution, so we need to look at the sample size assumption. Now the sample size assumption, we used a large enough condition, and since one of them was only 25 and we don't have a histogram to confirm the distribution, a sample size of 25 may not be large enough for the condition to be met, and therefore we should proceed with caution. So let's look at what we have. So our first mean is 551,600. Our second mean is 411,800. The first standard deviation is 140,000. The second standard deviation is 110,200. We have a sample 1 size of 25, and we have a sample 2 size of 75. And of course, our degrees of freedom is 34. We don't calculate it so much for the two mean comparisons tests, so it's often going to be given to you either on the output or in the question. And we are using a 1% significance level. So let's see what we can start with. First, we're going to state our hypothesis and define the parameters and context. Our null hypothesis is going to be that mu1 is equal to mu2. And our alternative hypothesis is going to be that mu1 is greater than mu2 because the researcher believes it's greater. When we define our parameter, we're going to say for the population of all recent home sales in the Halifax area, let mu1 be the average cost. And then, of course, for the population of all recent home sales in Nova Scotia outside HRM, let mu2 be the average cost. Now we're going to calculate the test statistic. So let's give ourselves a bit more room here. So this is the formula here. It's a little bit more more complicated than a one mean, but if we just fill our numbers in, we have all the numbers up above, and we do the calculation, we're going to get a t of 4.55. Now, of course, we're going to use the t-table to find our p-value, and we've said our degrees of freedom was 32. So we're going to come to row 32, and we are looking for 4.55. Now, you can see that it is not on the table. This is actually the largest number in that row, and we're above that, so we know that we're going to be above this number up here, 0.005, because we are doing a one-tail test. So we know that our p-value is going to be less than 0.005. So we can write that down. Okay, so now that we have that, let's look at our conclusion, because now we have a p-value and we had a 1% significance level. Now, of course, a p-value of 0.005 is less than our alpha. So we are going to be able to conclude. If the assumptions hold and the distribution is not overly skewed at the 1% significance level, and I put my p-value in brackets, we can conclude that for the population of all recent home sales in Halifax and the rest of Nova Scotia, the average cost of a home sold in Nova Scotia will be more in Halifax than in the rest of the province. So just take a note at the beginning when I said if the assumptions hold, I identified what the potential problem is. If you don't use since and you're using if because there might be a problem, you need to identify what's causing the if. Now, after she completes this, a fellow researcher points out that Halifax has always been more expensive than the rest of the province, and that she should have performed a matched pairs test comparing Halifax in the past to Halifax currently. So if you check out the next video, our next video is going to be on matched pairs t-test, and we'll be going through the hypothesis process for that. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit like, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.